treat your employees how you want to be treated, because at the end of the day, you're offering a service, you're not selling a product. So, your people are gonna care for your company as much as you care for them. So if you treat your people right, then they're gonna go out there and they're gonna treat your company well, and they're gonna take care of their customers.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of The Report. Today, it is officially the start of Q3, and man, summer is upon us. I'm so excited, but I am more excited because we got a couple big dogs in the house that are doing big things in the parking lot business, the valet business. I got the Velarde brothers. I got Jonny and Clay. What's up, guys?
What is
How you
going
doing, Rich?
on, baby?
Yeah, welcome to the pod, man. Appreciate you guys coming out, man. And it's funny because I feel like I know you guys. You guys are we've been working together for quite some time. You guys are in the hotel seven-figure communities, and man, you guys are great people. But it's so nice to finally connect in person, man. This has been long overdue.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you,
awesome.
brother.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man.
We
Of
appreciate
course,
it.
of course. So, first things first, man. I think it's so unique what you guys do. A lot of people in business and real estate and all these different ventures, but I don't hear of the parking lot industry come up very often. But we see parking lots everywhere. I mean, there's a lot of parking lots downtown where we live, where our office is located. Everyone has cars, right? That's never going to go anywhere. And there's always a shortage of parking in a lot of these areas that we go to. But what I find unique is you guys started the parking lot business for only $15,000. You guys got in the game. You built it into this big thing. How did you turn $15,000 into such a big thing?
We started back in 2020. So, little backstory: our father was in the parking business for about 40 years. He came from Peru to Santa Monica with zero.
Peruvian.
Yep. He started parking cars, built his company. Our plan was to work for him, take it over. We didn't have the right our business mindsets didn't click, so we did our own thing. During COVID, we started our parking company, about 15K. And nothing happened in 2020 because of COVID. And then 2021 was like our first real year of business. We did like 960K in revenue, just booking private parties and doing little shuttle events here and there. And yeah, and then we basically doubled every year since, and we're in our 5th year of business.
Damn. So you guys took a $15,000 cash investment and turned it into $960,000 in revenue in 1 year. Did you guys? What was the first model? Did you guys buy the lot or did you guys lease it? Talk about that.
Okay, so good question. We started just doing valet parking, and then that kind of funneled that gave us all the cash flow from. We were doing events like weddings and corporate events and bar mitzvahs and funerals and private events and stuff like that. And then when we expanded into Florida, because we're in Southern California and Northeast Florida, when we went to Florida, we used the profits from that to buy parking lots here and there. And then we established relationships with businesses, and we would lease like their parking area. So like, let's say you're a real estate office downtown St. Augustine and you have 20 spaces in the back that you don't really use. Maybe you need 4 for like your employees. And then on the weekends, you're not really doing much. That's where we come in, rent the space. Landlord's happy. They're getting money they never had. We're happy because now we're hustling, triple parking cars. It's crazy. Like you're charging $20-$30 a pop. And yeah.
So it sounds like there's multiple arms of the parking lot business. So talk about those different arms: valet, arbitrage, and then owning the parking lot. Is there anything I missed there?
We started as a valet company, and then and then that was our main arm. And then our second arm was like the parking lot model. And now our third arm, we also do shuttle services. So the parking lot is great because maybe you don't have, maybe you don't have the money to buy a $5 million piece of property. You can, if you have the right network and the connections, you can start a lease with the landlord, and then you can do your own thing at the.
If someone's listening to this right now and they have $10,000, $15,000 to get started, or maybe they just have it on a credit card. We just had Jack McCall, King of Debt, on last week, and he taught us how to get approved for $150,000 of 0% funding. So if someone's got 15K, let's say, what's the best avenue for them to get started?
I'll tell you something better. You could have zero down. We have there's a family in St. Augustine. They own like 12 hotels. We got our foot in the door, and now we manage their lots, and we didn't give them any money up front. Like they allowed us to work, make the money, and then we pay them the rent.
A split?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
what kind of split would you give them a hotel like that?
Depends how prime the location is. You could do like 50-50 after expenses. If it's really prime, maybe you don't, and you're paying like after the fact, maybe you give them a little, better split or whatever. You can structure, there's a lot of ways you can structure it. 50-50, 60-40 after expenses. It's pretty fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Jonny, anything to, I'm sorry, Clay, anything to add there?
You know, yeah, so if you're starting off with 15,000 and you wanna get into the valet world, it's very I mean, there's not a lot of hoops to jump through, right? You gotta get your business license, you gotta get your name, your website going, but other than that, I mean, it's a lot of hustling. Go door to door, business to business, offer your services, really sell your brand, and through time, I mean, you'll get repeat business and you'll acquire customers through there. And in terms of finding parking lots, you know, you don't know if you don't ask. So if you're in a hustle in city, whether it's St. Augustine or beautiful San Diego where we are today, if there's a church or a business that you know has prime parking, knock on their front door. 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to say they're not interested, but you never know. I mean, you can give them a nice offer, and next thing you know, you could be parking cars there next weekend. It's really just the luck of the draw,
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
consistency.
Absolutely. Okay, so it sounds like and you call this what, the arbitrage model?
The arbitrage model, yeah.
So it sounds like the arbitrage model is the way to go if you're starting from a place of not a lot of capital to get in the game. So let's just take it a step further. Let's say you find an owner, and let's just say it's a hotel and they got a bunch of empty spots that are not being utilized, and they say, yeah, you know what, we are interested. What's the next step from there?
The next step would be, so you want to solidify a long-lasting contract because the longer the contract is, the longer you're going to be able to be there and sell parking for. So know your market, know how much you can realistically sell per space, and see if it's going to be busy. I mean, you can reverse engineer it and to come up with a monthly number that makes sense to both you and the landlord. But everything's negotiable. I mean, you could start off with one price, and after 3, 4, 5, 6 months, if it's not working, then come back to the drawing table and go from there.
So you could almost do like a revenue split, or you could do some pre-negotiated monthly rent.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's
So
more profitable in your estimation?
it really depends. What do you think?
Honestly, the leasing is really like if you can get a sweet deal on a lease, there's
You
a
pocket all the upside.
yeah, there's a church in St. Augustine where we have a pretty sweet lease on, and like we 10x the revenue. Like,
Damn.
yeah.
What do you
Now,
guys lease it for monthly?
like monthly, uh, 3K a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what can that parking lot bring in per month, like on a good month?
So with St. Augustine, it's very seasonal.
Okay.
So like, there's this thing called Nights of Lights, and brings in, I would say, millions of people.
Is that like a holiday type of thing?
Yeah, it's like from like Thanksgiving time to like mid-January, and every weekend there's hundreds of thousands of people, tens of thousands of people.
So will
at
you
least.
tick up
Yeah.
your rates?
Yeah, we usually charge between like 20 and 30 bucks a car. And so it's funny, when we moved to St. Augustine, no one really charged for parking. And we kind of brought the vision to St. Augustine, Florida. Like it's the oldest city in America.
People are expecting to pay for parking when they go to any like downtown area. They go to an event, like they're already expecting to pay for parking, especially go to these NBA games. Like I was up at the Clippers' new arena, Intuit Dome. And for anyone listening to this, if you have not been to the Intuit Dome in Inglewood, it's the nicest NBA arena in the entire league. And they have a parking garage called the Players Garage. And of course, it's like the best parking. It's like right there. You get an elevator, and then you just take this elevator down. You're basically like at your seats. It's sick, but it's not cheap. I think it's like $200, but people pay that because for people with money are going to pay for the convenience. They're going to pay to save time. They don't want to be walking 10 blocks waiting at red lights and all that. And so people are going to pay for the convenience. And if you have that first class service, people are going to pay up for it. So it's like, hey, $200 for parking. That's a no-brainer for a lot of people that are going to these games, and some of these people are paying, $2,000, $4,000 to go to these games. What's $200 for parking? So it's all relative, I think, in my opinion. But I think the point of what I'm saying is people are expecting to pay for parking in these areas, and so you guys brought it to the market.
100%, bro. Get this. So we grew up in Southern California. LA area, we know parking's a hot commodity. You go to Venice Beach, you're selling parking for $25, $30 a car on a beautiful sunny day. When we went to St. Augustine about 5 years ago, it was kind of like a sleepy beach town. I mean, it was very touristic, a lot of tourists come there. It's the oldest city in America, but people move a lot slower there. It's a lot slower paced. And when we got there, we saw all these parking lots in the heart of downtown, and we were like, "Damn, like we wanna capitalize on this." So what we did was, we took advantage, and we started door knocking and trying to get leases with these landlords and just, offer value to them, for their parking lot. And next thing you know, we're not the only players in the city anymore. Now everyone's doing it. So we really have woken up the city. And we don't think about it as like our
Competition.
competition. No, because to be honest, like there's enough business to go
The
around.
city needs people to charge for parking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Why do you say the city, Johnny? Why do you say the city needs people to charge for parking?
Because there's so many people that come to the city. Like if you want all these tens and hundreds of thousands of people to come, there's nowhere to park. Like it's literally gridlocked. Like literally, like you could be a mile down the street and it would take you an hour just to get from there to where.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any regulatory stuff that come with parking? Because I know, let's just say hotels, there's, transient occupancy taxes, and the city collects a slice of that revenue. Most cities do. Do they touch any of that stuff with the parking?
The city of St. Augustine, I think it just depends. Like the most important thing is to have your zoning. Like obviously if you're, residential zoning and you're parking cars in your front yard, like that's going to piss people off. But if you have like the commercial zoning, and I don't see why there would be an issue. And then there's, you pay your sales tax. Like we pay the Department of Florida Revenue every month and stuff like that. Certain cities have different, like Pasadena, I think, has a parking tax. So different municipalities have different rules, but I think everyone, like if you're the government, just let the business owners, make it easy for them to get a business license to charge for parking or whatever, and collect the tax. Like they'll be glad to pay it. Don't make it difficult because they're going to do it anyways.
Sure. Clay, do you believe that this model works better in some markets versus other markets?
100%. I mean, there has to be a demand for it. That's number one. But similar to with the boutique hotel space, the more red tape there is in terms of the municipalities and permitting and allowing you to charge for parking, sometimes it doesn't allow other players to get into the game, which could be beneficial to you. But yeah, it is market dependent, but it's all based off demand. I mean, if the demand is there, you can make money through parking.
Yeah.
100%.
I got a question for you guys. So we have all of our hotels have parking except for one of them, and it's right here in Little Italy, very congested area, walkable. There's not a lot of parking in any of these places down here, and there's other hotels that don't have parking either. So it's fine, but like, every now and then it would be nice to have parking. We could probably upsell that, and we could probably charge a decent amount for it. What's a good idea that we could implement to still provide parking to the guests, even though we don't technically have a parking lot?
Yeah, so I would go with right off the bat, get some signage, some good signage, get a couple A-frames and get some public parking, get a QR code on there, scan to pay. You could do per hour, you could do nightly, I mean, depending on how close it is to the city or how close it is to the beach. And also, if you're not already doing it for the hotel owners out there, like if you're not charging your guests like an overnight parking fee, you should consider it. I
Yeah, it's a
mean,
huge value add.
it's huge value add. No
Straight to the bottom line.
no payroll, added to it. Like just charge them an extra 10, 15, $20 a night. Like they don't think about it. Like they'll pay it,
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
That's good right there. So with this hotel though, we don't have parking. There is a hotel across the street that has a big lot, and I noticed their lot's probably like half empty most of the time. So maybe we can start a conversation with them. We've talked to some other local garages about renting 4 or 5 spots long term on a monthly basis, and then offering that for a nightly fee, obviously, to our guests. So it's like, hey, we can check the box and say, do we do have parking?
It's like the breakfast thing that you talked about in
Yeah.
some prior episodes. Like, yeah, check the box. You can rent some spaces next door or close by, because you don't want them to walk like a mile. But if it's close by, you can say that you offer parking, Maybe if it's market dependent, but maybe you do valet parking. I don't know if that's correct.
So how would that work if we offered valet? It would
Like if you had, let's say you had 0 parking on site,
yeah.
but you had valet, sweet. They pull up, maybe the valet can help with the bags, take the bags into the lobby or whatever, and then the valet guy can take the car to the nearby lot or garage, and then the guest doesn't have to worry about it. And then
And in that example, what would the expense look like for us? We got to pay a valet guy, right, to be there?
yeah, usually you'd have to pay the operator an hourly fee. Sometimes you could do like a profit share, so that the valet operator has skin in the game. But if you wanted to collect all the revenues and just pay like an hourly amount, then you would just pay like an hourly fee to the valet company. Maybe some insurance, maybe some equipment, stuff like that. But yeah, something.
And for comparison, the Marriott 2 blocks down the street from here, they charge $60 a night for valet.
At least. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're in the San Diego market, like there's a demand for it and they will pay it, like 100%.
Yeah. So Clay, you mentioned certain markets are better for starting a parking lot business and than others. What makes a parking lot or a market really conducive for a parking lot business?
So it's gotta be first off, the demand's gotta be there. But then second of all is the barrier to entry. So are there a lot of parking lots available? Are they already pre-leased? Are there, what's the traffic flow looking like? And also, is it seasonal? Is it a consistently every weekend it's packed, or is it kind of only during certain events, festivals, this sort of
Is
thing?
there a way to get that data online, or what's the best way to figure that out?
I think if you're looking to get into the market and you have a certain area in mind, spend a couple weeks there. Go there, live there, feel it, breathe it, and drive around. Because if you're in, like, you got to be in the city. The numbers and data that'll definitely help. But I think being in the physical city itself and driving around and seeing the demand, that's where you're gonna find it.
We were on our way in from the gym. You drive through San Diego, it's all ace parking, ace parking, ace parking, ace parking. They have it monopolized. Like literally every single corner is ace parking.
How big is Ace Parking?
I looked them up. They seem pretty big. I didn't get like a.
Oh, you guys don't have Ace Parking on the East Coast?
Not that I'm aware.
Really?
Of.
No.
Okay.
No. But
Yeah,
they
they're
have this.
all over
They have
here.
this market locked. So like, if you want to do parking lots in San Diego, you're gonna have a difficult time. But I would, like you asked, how do you find a good market? Like a really easy way that I thought of was because in St. Augustine they have the Old Town Trolley, like the orange and green little buses, and we were walking down Seaport Village, and they have Old Town Trolley here too, and parking's insane here. So that's an easy way to determine like the markets that maybe you should consider, like just like no brainer right off the bat.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. And then I guess once you figure out, okay, this market's conducive, if you go into lock up a lot and then there's an Ace Parking that controls a lot of it, could you use that to your advantage? Because it's like, hey, we only have one competitor.
You could, yeah. You could not necessarily. I don't know if you could use it to your advantage, but whatever they're charging, unless you're adding some sort of value that they're not, you're gonna have to be pretty similar in price. Like, right? Like, so if they're charging $20 per car, you're not gonna be able to really justify selling it for 25 or 30, unless you're like 2 blocks closer to the beach or something along those lines.
What's the best arbitrage deal you guys have ever done in terms of like spread?
In St. Augustine, there's a church. I went in the church, but there's a church, and he was talking about door knocking. I tried door knocking physically, couldn't get a hold of the right person. So I called who I thought was the right person, left a voicemail, and then like a month later, I got a random call. Hey, is this Jonny with Parking Pros? Yeah, you left me a voicemail. You're interested in doing parking at our church? Shit. Yeah, thanks for calling back.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, like just a little phone call and a voicemail. So we agreed on we paid him like a fee for like the Nights of Lights period, and killed it.
What'd you pay him?
We paid him 30,000, I think.
Okay, 25 to 30K.
Yeah.
For like a 6-week period.
For like from mid-November to mid-January,
Okay.
early January.
And how many spots were in this lot?
That's the thing. Like it's all grass.
Oh, okay. So you
So
up to how many spots?
no one had ever parked cars there before.
Yeah.
And we walked in and we came in and we were like, "You want to park cars on that grass?" And we're like, "I don't know." We ended up fitting 500 cars there per night
Wow.
at $30 a pop.
Damn.
So you do the math.
Wow. That's huge.
Yeah.
And you guys would fill it up every night during this
only
time?
on the busy Saturdays,
You would.
every single Saturday full. Like, and there's that's why like we don't care about the competition because there's so much to go around. Like we were full and there's still a 2-mile long line of
We
traffic.
had to turn cars away.
We had to turn cars away.
Damn. So you
Yeah.
could have charged more.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like you don't want to leave like a nasty taste in people's mouth.
Yeah.
Like, we're happy, we're more than happy with
You're happy with your 15K. For the
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
And so and this is a 6-week period?
Yeah, 6 weeks, yeah. And it's not every day, but the busy days you can get it, yeah.
So just to recap, you guys gave the owner of this church how much?
About 25, 30K.
25,000.
Yeah.
And then how much did you guys think you made over the 6 weeks of renting out their lot?
Last year we probably made around 200.
Yeah, around 200K.
$200,000
Yeah.
in 6 weeks.
And
Damn.
him and I, we worked it. We had maybe a couple $1,000 in payroll, couple $100 in signs. People love it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge, man.
And you know what? The best part about it is we
What's
would
up?
never have gotten that if we didn't make the call. So like if you think that there's an opportunity there, make the call, get out of your comfort zone and put yourself out there because that's how you're gonna lock up the deals. If you're just sitting on the sidelines, like you're not gonna get anything done. So get out there, find the market that you're interested in and knock around and you'll get something. You'll
Is
get
there
something
any
locked up.
sort of way to market this, like on social media, online, paid ads to people that just have parking lots?
I think the best way is just like to do you can do some ads. But if you're in we're in St. Augustine, so everyone knows us as like the parking guys. But if you're trying to get into like a new market,
And by the way, I suggest all the listeners go shoot these guys a follow at their Instagram at Valet Parking Pros. But Jonny, you were saying the best way is to do what?
yeah, if you could do ads, you can do. I think nowadays social media talk about it, like be the expert in your field. Like that's why we started a podcast. We're talking about parking and stuff, and hired a full-time social media.
And just by doing that, are you guys getting more leads?
Yeah, I mean he got a organic lead. Why don't you talk about that?
I was on Brad Rice's podcast talking about the
Love
parking
Brad Rice.
industry 3 months ago, and I got a call. Some gentleman, younger guy in the Miami market called me, and he was just fascinated about the parking industry, and wanted to chat it up, and I said sure, let's figure out a time where we can meet, and now we're gonna be mentoring him, and training him from the 5 years of experience that we've gone through. We're gonna fast forward his career basically in the parking industry, and that's another thing too is like don't be afraid to invest some money into your growth. Like you got to find the people that are doing what you want to do, pay them, and you'll fast forward your life tenfold. So he found us through the podcast, through the social media, and now we have the opportunity to teach him what we've learned. That's
Yeah,
been great.
absolutely. What are your ideas on this? Because I was at the San Diego County Fair, which is going on for the next few weeks here in San Diego, and I was there one night, Friday. Oscar's over here laughing because he likes to go to these fairs for like 7-8 hours, and he thought it was crazy. I only went for 2 hours. He's like, bro, next time you got to go longer. I'm like, all right, bro. Next time I'll go a little bit longer for you, Oscar. But anyhow, we got to get him a microphone. By the way, he's over there laughing. But anyways, what I was saying is this: we went over there. And I was surprised. It was Friday night. They had a concert going on. There's a lot of demand, tons of cars. I mean, we're talking
Thousands probably.
oh yeah, well into the thousands. Maybe 3,000 plus cars. A lot of cars. And so I pull in, and I asked the guy like, hey, where's like the closest spot to park? And they didn't have anything. He didn't even know where the best spot to park was. And so they didn't really have like special parking for like if you just wanted to be in the front, which I felt like is an opportunity. Because big lot like that, you're talking it's a long walk, right? And so I thought, man, it would be cool if they have like 100 spots dedicated to like right up front where people can pay like a premium, but they didn't have that, to my surprise. And so Is that something that you guys see for like higher demand events like that?
Yeah, bro. So this is what like anyone that if there's a fair going on, whether it's a San Diego fair or Coachella, whatever. And this is great too because it might be in like an area where you wouldn't expect parking to be a big commodity. You can, if you have a piece of grass 2 miles away from the fair, you can advertise park and ride. Okay, get a couple shuttle buses there, charge people $50 to park there for the day and give them a ride in a Sprinter van to the fair and just have that van going back and forth all day. That's something to do if you're not exactly on like right next to the fairgrounds. That's one idea. Johnny, you got anything?
Yeah, I was just gonna say this would be huge for like Coachella and Stagecoach, or any big festivals, maybe in like Vegas or anywhere where they're having like tens of thousands of people show up. If if you're looking to use some extra space, maybe you got big dirt piece of land or whatever that you got the zoning that allows you to make it parking. That's a good. You can do it yourself and do all the work, or you can call people like us and we'll do it for you.
Hey guys, if you're looking to get into real estate investing, but you're like, hey, I don't have the time, but you want to participate in the passive income, the tax benefits, and the wealth building, my company, Summers Capital, partners with limited partners, people like yourself, and we go out and buy boutique hotels. We have a fund where we currently own 5 hotels, and we currently have a wait list for investors to participate with us. If you want to learn more to see if this is a fit for you, you can go to summerscapital.com/invest to inquire and get on our wait list and be notified next time we have an opportunity. Again, summerscapital.com/invest. Now back to the show. It makes sense. I mean, if I think about the parking lot business, and I never really thought of it in this light because it's just one of those things like you just do every day. You see parking lots everywhere, but you don't really think about it until you have a conversation with you gentlemen. I'm like, damn, it's like actually like a real business.
It's
but
a really hush like.
Yeah, it is. It is for whatever reason. But it makes sense because there's so many parking lots downtown, and there's a reason why a lot of these remain parking lots is because they're bringing in money. I'll see new builds all the time where they're getting entitlement, or maybe they even have the permits ready to go, and it'll be like a high rise that's already ready to like teed up for the buyer that wants to do the build out, but it'll be operating as a parking lot in the meantime. And sometimes they'll even like go out of their way to pave it so they can operate as a parking lot in the meantime because they don't know when they're going to do the build out or when it will actually sell. So there's a lot next to one of the properties owned here, and it's a historic zone. They took a historic building. They got the entitlement to build a 24-floor high-rise, but the city says because it's a historic building, you can't tear the historic building down. You got to move it. So they went out of their way to move the historic building out of this lot, moved it to another neighborhood in Barrio Logan.
They just picked it up and moved
then
it?
Yeah, and then they literally paved this lot, and instead of building the high-rise right away, they paved the lot, striped it. They did a deal with Ace Parking, and now it's operating as an Ace parking lot. And now it's on LoopNet, and they're looking for a buyer to pay a pretty high price tag to buy this lot with entitlement, permitting, ready to go, and do a 24-floor high rise. But in the meantime, they even knew, hey, we're gonna do a sublease deal with Ace Parking to supplement our holding costs, which I thought was kind of cool.
We saw something like that driving in. It was like that. What was it? A butcher shop? It looked like it was closed down and just a big bunch of spaces, right? That's the shit that excites us. Like when you see an empty lot in a really busy area, it's like, ooh.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the craziest thing you guys have seen happen on a parking lot? Fights, people going through divorces, arguments. And what's the craziest thing you guys have seen? I'm sure you guys have seen some crazy things.
Yeah, that craziest thing in terms of the parking lot was this was in St. Augustine at one of our lots, and it was commercially zoned, but it wasn't technically a parking lot. And we had this thing absolutely stuffed to the brim with cars. And next thing you know, the police come. And this is like, we're like full, like we have like a line of cars. We're charging $20, $25, $30 a car. And the police come and they like threaten to shut us down.
Why?
Because they were saying that there was neighbors that were complaining how it wasn't zoned properly, but it was the correct zoning. Anyhow, the police tried to shut us down, and they did for about a few hours. But that was probably the craziest thing in terms of like drama that we encountered. Luckily, after talking to him for a little bit, we were able to open it back up. But yeah, that threw a real wrench in
The
things.
the police were trying to hate on all the cash flow that you guys were bringing in,
Yeah, because one neighbor was
all the
bitching,
bags.
and is yeah, it is what it is, man. When people see that you're successful and you're making money, they want to do things to stop you, and in that case, that was the truth. But
I'm sure that you guys see a lot of nice cars come through, especially if you're doing the valet game, right? What's some of the nicest cars that you guys have seen?
we parked a Bugatti Veyron
Mm.
before at one of
How much does
our.
that car cost?
I gotta say, at least like 1.3. Yeah, my guy called me, that was working at this, restaurant in Brentwood,
Okay.
and, he says, "Hey, Clay, I just parked a Bugatti." And I was honestly, I was, like, worried. I was like, "Bro, that's like $1 million car, like, please make sure there's no cars next to it, because if there's a door ding on that thing, it's gonna cost you, like, 20 grand to fix." That's definitely the nicest car we've ever parked was a Bugatti.
Mm.
Yeah.
My
You probably frequent a lot of other cars too. What about you, Johnny?
my favorite car is I got 3 little kids, so my favorite car right now is like a nice luxurious SUV, long with the extended trunk space. But when I'm older, I would really like to get like a Porsche, like a 911 Turbo Sport or
Yeah.
something like that.
What's the nicest car you've ever parked?
Nicest car I've ever parked, probably a Cullinan. It's like a $400,000 or
Rolls
$500,000.
Royce
Yeah,
Cullinan. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they're nice, man. Like you open it, the stars light up, the carpet's like 3 inches thick.
And the Cullinan qualifies for code section 179.
Yeah, so if you
Yeah,
if you get,
Blake Roach, who's been on the podcast a couple of times, he's got one of those.
yeah, they're nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're really
Oscar's
nice.
been out there to see his
Yeah,
Cullinan.
his is bad. That orange, right?
Yeah,
Orange
it's
one? Yeah,
orange.
that thing's
Mhm.
sick.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure you guys meet like a lot of like very successful people. You guys ever strike up conversations like, hey, how'd you make your money?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we what one of our main parts of the business is the private events, like Johnny was saying earlier, and a lot of these private events, man, are places like Beverly Hills, Hollywood Hills, Santa Monica, and these houses are, 20, 30, 40, $50 million homes, you know. So the people that are rolling into these events aren't your average Joe, they're pretty high influence people. And yeah, we've had the opportunity to strike conversations with them, and that's also the beauty about it too, with a lot of our staff that work for us, is they enjoy the job because they get to interact with these people every day. And I always tell them, don't think about it as, oh, you're just a parking attendant. Like, you're not. Like, you have the opportunity to build these connections with these, high up people, and you never know who you might meet. You might be working for them one day, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. What about you, Johnny?
What inspirational or like
No, just
people?
like connecting because obviously you guys are connecting and parking cars for these successful people. And that's who you guys know this is like who and access to information. You guys are right there. And I'm sure some of these people come in, they don't really have money, but they're driving a nice car. But some of these people do have a lot of money. And so like have you been able to plant any seeds and build any like connections, relationships that have kind of helped you grow?
Yeah, I mean, like a couple weekends ago, I was working one of our lots in St. Augustine, and this guy with a big F-250 comes in. I have an F-250, so I was like, "Oh, nice truck. I got one too." And he's like, "Yeah, thanks, man." And I was like, "What do you do?" He's like, "I build Jersey mics for a living." I was like, "Oh, like the sandwich shop?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I built all the Jersey mics on the East Coast." I was like, so it's like you never know who you're gonna run into. It's like the like he was a super low key guy, but you strike up conversation where you be social. You never know what opportunities might present themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's two ways to look at it. It's like you could be, there's the scarcity mindset where someone's parking these nice cars and they're like, man, must be nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other approach is like, hey, like, how can I do that too?
Yeah,
Let me learn how this guy got into the Bugatti. You know what I mean?
if I was just start if like if well, I mean, I did this when I was coming up in the valet world, like in high school and before the military and stuff. But if you're parking cars, like strike up conversation. If you see someone, they got the good vibe, like, "Excuse me, sir, you mind if I ask what you do for a living?" "I'm an attorney for whatever." "Oh, that's cool." Or you never know, like what they're gonna say, or they might have an internship available, or they might be willing to mentor you for free, or whatever. If you don't ask, you don't
Yeah.
get.
I'll get that when I'm parking. If I valet, I'll get that a lot. Like, hey, like, what do you do for a living? And I'm always very friendly, and I always talk to them about what I do. But I always said, like, man, like 6 years ago, I was working full time as a government employee, and so I'm always happy to talk shop a little bit. I love this game. I'm curious for you guys. I want to switch gears here a little bit. What is it like getting into ownership of a parking lot? What are the pros and cons of getting into ownership, and how much do these parking lots cost?
Okay, so let's see. Our first lots were in St. Augustine, Florida. We keep going back to St. Augustine. The first lot that we purchased was actually a seller finance deal. I think our mom was just driving through downtown, and she was like, "This commercial." Or no, our friend told us about it, and our mom sold it to us. It was 380,000. We seller financed it. We put 200 down, and then we financed 180 with the 3-year note, 3-year balloon, and yeah, so like super straightforward and easy. That was the first lot that we bought. We still have it. It's a small lot, but it's in a really prime location, and
So hold on, back up a second. So you guys found this lot. Where did you find the lot?
our friend.
LoopNet or where?
I don't even think it was.
No, just driving.
Yeah.
Just
Just
driving
driving.
around.
Driving
Our buddy
for
called
dollars.
me.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
And Clay, how much did this lot cost?
The lot was 380,000.
Okay.
We put
And the seller financed it.
seller finance. Yeah.
How much?
We put down 200. Seller finance 180, and the note was due in 3.5 years.
Okay.
Three.
Interest only?
No.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Interest only. Yeah, interest only. I think it was 4%, 5%.
But with a high cash flow business like that, you put 200 grand down on a lot, you can make that back pretty quick. Yeah.
100%.
How
Yeah.
long does it take in that instance? How long did it take to make the money back?
Well, we haven't made it back quite yet, but I would say you could make back to 200K in what, 6-7 years,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
Um,
What kind of a cap rate does a parking lot like that trade for?
In St. Augustine, probably 7%, 6 or 7%.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's pretty low.
yeah. The
I would have thought something more like 10 to 15%.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we first moved there, it was a little higher, but everyone, yeah,
So that lot, what is that? What does a lot like that make monthly in terms of top line revenue?
that lot will do about 35, 40K a year.
35, 40K a year.
With
So you're looking at
with
480.
zero effort, mind you.
So you're looking at 480 if you do 40K a month, that's 480 over the course of a year.
No, it'll do 40 a year. It's a tiny
Oh,
lot.
40K per year.
Yeah.
Tiny lot. Yeah.
Got it.
Mhm.
yeah,
Okay.
you could probably put about 14 cars there if you double park them and really stuff it. But it's in the heart of downtown. Like it's like a 4-minute walk from the fort. Like it's right there. And that was our starter. That's like our little baby. It was just dirt when we got it. We paved it, put landscaping in, and now it's a functioning business.
Mm-hmm,
You know.
What's the best deal that you guys ever did?
Well, that was our only that to date. We're looking to acquire another lot shortly, but to date, that's our only lot that we purchased.
Got
However,
it.
The best lease we ever did was the church. I told you
church
about.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
25, 30K rent, and you do like 200K in revenue, like
Yeah.
in
That's
6
huge.
weeks.
And so did you guys lock that in long term for future?
It's on an annual thing, and you have the renewal rights and stuff like that. That's the key. Like, if you get a good spot, tie it up. Like, get a 3-year, 5-year lease with like first right of refusals and stuff. Like, you wanna if you go into these places, like I bet Ace has all that shit locked up. Like, they're not dumb. They're keeping that for decades.
yeah, and you don't have. I mean, what Johnny was saying, like you don't have to buy. Like go in there and if you can't buy it, rent it. Lease it. It's sometimes that's better. Less risk, but it's with the position that you have available.
Yeah.
So
What's the main overhead? Do you need a parking lot attendant?
Yes and no. If it's a big enough lot and it's in a prime enough spot, you might not need to double or triple park cars. But if you have if you're hustling and you got a little lot and you're in the downtown and like we have a real estate office that we lease, and there's only like 12 or 14 spaces, and if you valet park cars, you can turn that 12 spaces into 20 spaces, and over the course of 10 hours, you can fit an extra, maybe 20, 30 cars there times, that's an extra $1,000 in revenue. So that for sure covers the payroll. So you just got to make sure, it's worth it. But if some lots, you don't need that. Some lots, you just put QR codes and people self-park and it's effortless.
Interesting. And then how do you determine if it's like, okay, I'm gonna put a valet stand here, and this is something that's gonna have the demand for valet?
Yeah, so that's based off the size of the lot. For something like what we purchased, it's only 12 spaces. For us to really, really maximize it and get the most out of it, like we gotta throw an attendant in there. And then it also depends on location. Sometimes it's not very easy to see from public view, so sometimes you might need like a parking attendant like outside the lot with a flag and a sign like trying to flag people in. So it that those are two factors. But then also with the parking lot attendants too comes liability, right? So we prefer a lot of people like cash. We actually prefer
You're
taking
saying
credit
having
card.
a lot attendant creates more liability than not having one?
It does because you got a few things. First off, I mean, if they're collecting cash, other people see that, and you never know. Someone might go over there and, you know, try and steal, I mean, it's happened before. And so having signage that says like parking lot attendant does not accept cash or credit card only, it takes away that liability. But then
Mm.
it's also easier to track.
Have you guys ever had someone try to hit up one of your attendants to steal cash?
No, we luckily no. But we know of other companies where it's happened, and that's where we got the idea. Like, hey, this is a pretty big liability. Let's try and do credit card only. It's quicker, cleaner. The books are more organized, and it's safer. So that's what we prefer.
That makes sense. Now what's have you guys ever had a car stolen?
We have.
Really?
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
What
We've
kind of
only
car was
one,
stolen?
only one car. It was a Tesla. It was a
Okay.
Tesla, and so
Which model?
it was a Tesla Plaid.
Okay.
Yeah, Tesla
Which was
Plaid.
the plaid? I don't think I've ever seen that
Fast
one.
one.
It's the one with the spaceship wheel.
Okay.
And
And is that a Model X, Model Y,
nah,
Model
it was a
S?
model. It was like the model. It was like the sedan. I don't know. The Tesla Plaid
Model S?
Model S.
Okay.
Model S. And which is actually the worst car to ever steal because
Why?
you can track them from your phone. I mean, I
Mm.
knew like the owner of the car saw like his Tesla like
Moving.
driving like
Getting the
5 miles
notification real
down.
time.
Yeah, but how that happened, it was a total. I mean, the guys were total cons. They knew what they were doing. They came into the restaurant. This was at a restaurant. I won't name it, but this was at a restaurant, and two guys walked in together. They valeted together. They ate dinner, waited till the very end until there was only a few cars left, and they left. They came out to the valet guy together. The partner was like, "Hey, I lost my ticket, but this is my car." And since the other gentleman he came with valeted, it didn't seem like sketchy. He like read off the license plate of his car and everything. And so my valet attendant, in hindsight, should he have looked into it more? Of course. But we were there since the beginning and it didn't seem sketchy at the time. So the guy hopped in and he was gone. And we found him.
And how long after he took off with the Tesla Model S to where you guys realized it?
45 minutes.
Damn, that's a long time.
Yeah.
What were you guys doing for 45 minutes?
Well, you mean until
That's how long it took him to like find the.
No, that's yeah. The police
No,
found
until you
him.
guys realized that it was gone.
Oh, we like 7 minutes.
Okay, that's not
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, because the owner came out right after. Yeah,
And he said,
right.
"Hey, where's my car?"
Yeah, where's my car? Yeah, we couldn't
Damn.
find his keys, and then he saw in his app that the car
Car's
was
moving. Damn.
Yeah. So
So how'd that turn out? What ended up
we
happening?
called the cops. We called the police. We were able to track the car. They got in a pursuit with the guy, and he ended up dumping the car. Like he just pulled off to the side and like started running. I don't think they ever actually caught him. Thank God, nothing actually happened to the vehicle. There was no scratches or anything. The owner, nicest guy ever. Super, super understanding. We got him gift certificates to the restaurant for like 4 months. We really took care of him. Obviously, apologized profusely. But yeah, I mean, in this industry, it happens.
Shitty scenario, but it kind of turned out like best case in the
Yeah.
end. Yeah,
So the cops ended up getting him, you said?
they've got the car. I don't know if they got the guy.
I don't
Eh,
think I
really?
don't
Oh,
think they
he
caught the
ended up
guy.
running out.
He ran.
I won't name the restaurant, but the reason why they knew where the car came from was because there was a to-go bag in the front seat. So the guy ran off and forgot to take his.
Got it. But he got away, it sounds like.
Probably, yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. I always wondered about, like, because when I'm waiting for my car, there's, often at a busy place, there's people everywhere. There's a lot of like cars coming up, nice cars. And sometimes I feel like when the valet is busy, there's not like a lot of like systems and processes, like who's who. They just hand the keys to whoever walks up, and then it's like, all right, see ya. So like I always wonder, like someone could easily just with $100 bill be like, oh, thank you, my man. Sunglasses on, jump in and go.
No,
If you get $100 bill, as a valet driver, you're probably not going to question it too much, right?
yeah. No, you're right in that sense. And ever since that happened, that was like a huge learning lesson for us. That was like in our first year of business. And in the event where that does happen, where they don't have it, because people lose their tickets all the time. So when that happens, you got to match their driver's license with their registration, or you got to take the extra
Do
step.
something to like
Yeah.
verify that the car is.
And I've never had someone ask for registration and driver's license, none of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, we
It's-
do now.
You do really every
Yeah.
time?
We tell, yeah,
we
man,
tell our
because it was
guys,
a pain in the
yeah,
ass.
if
Yeah.
you don't, if you can't like verify that if they don't have the ticket, like if they give you the
got it.
ticket,
If there's no ticket.
if they give you the ticket, you have no reason to think that they're lying. Like otherwise,
Yeah,
it'd be a
that makes
nightmare.
sense.
But,
Right,
but if they just walk up and be like, "Yo, that's my G wagon." Oh, okay, sir. Do you have a ticket? No, I lost it. Okay, just to make sure, just to protect your vehicle, I just want to make sure that your car.
Now, what if he dabs you up with a hundo as like, hey, dog? I
Then I'd
appreciate
really
my
be
man.
concerned. Like if you ask him for the, yeah, nah, just play it safe. Like who cares? At the end of the day, I'd rather.
In our business, bro, like there's gonna be some things that just happen. Like you're gonna scratch cars, you're gonna lose keys, and very, very rarely will a car go missing. But it's just the nature of the business. Every business has their drama, and in the parking world, that's the biggest thing. And
Is it true
does suck.
that because I know some people that have nice cars and they're like, dude, I don't valet. I think Grant Cardone's one of them. I don't think Grant valets, but some people think like, hey, you toss your keys to some valet kid, they're gonna drive the shit out of your car. Is that happen in some scenarios? Not that you guys have done it, but have you guys heard of this happening?
I've heard of, yeah, I mean, I've seen it, but that at the end of the day, that's why you got to really vet your drivers, So
Oh, this is the other thing. This is I think this is why Grant doesn't do it. Is because like it's like a security thing. I guess someone gets in your car, they could like ultimately get all the transponders to your home address. They get your home address through the registration. They get your transponder, and they have a way to get into your garage and open it. And so now next time you're not home, you can have your stuff robbed. Is that a real risk out there?
honestly, not really, because first of all, unless you're like super, super old school, I don't think anyone's plugging their home address into their car GPS. Like they're using Apple Maps or something along those lines. And once you take the iPhone out of your car,
What about the registration and the glove, though?
okay, so every car has a valet key.
Okay.
Like
Just lock it.
takes that thing, lock that baby up, take it with you, give the guy your key so he can unlock and lock and start your car. But he won't be able to get into the glove box. He won't be able to get into the registration. None of that.
Okay.
So
So just to recap, for someone listening to this right now, if they're wanting to go valet their car, what's everything that they should do before they valet their car?
So first of all, make sure you don't have any like super valuable things. Like don't be leaving your Rolex in the cup holder or a wad of cash like in the cup holder. Second of all, lock up your glove box with your valet key, keep it in your pocket, and then if you do happen to have your address in the hard drive of your vehicle, then you could put your car in valet mode, and that hides all of that stuff. But
Most cars nowadays have valet mode. So like
Really? You just push a button?
you can set the valet mode. Yeah, and I mean like if you're concerned about, that's a valid concern. You don't want strangers knowing where you live or having your remotes and stuff. Secure it.
Yeah. Interesting. I live in a high rise, so I don't have to worry about that, but it makes sense. I mean, especially if you're like a lady and you or a single lady and you live in a nice house, I mean, it makes sense. You could get potentially robbed, hit up, but I mean, you do hear this stuff happening around the country, right? Every now and then.
100 yeah,
Yeah.
and nowadays, man, you never know what's gonna happen. So it's better to take the extra steps and better be safe than sorry.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. When you guys think about the future of parking lots and technology and AI, is there any way to integrate AI into a parking lot business?
In terms of technology, we're using a lot of like the QR codes. That wasn't a thing like 10 years ago. I don't think. So a lot of people were old fashioned flagging cars in and, hustling on the streets. Now we implement a lot of QR codes in our day to day. In the office, we use Chat GPT a lot just to kind of like brainstorm and bounce ideas off and stuff like that. In terms of AI, like something that would be really useful for us would be like if somebody were to submit a quote form through our website, it'd be super sweet if
What's a quote form?
if you go to our website, you can like type in all your details and like your address, event date, time frame, and stuff like that. And then we will physically email you like a quote, like a nice proposal. It'd be cool if AI could do that for the most part. That would be something that would be very helpful.
Anything to add there, Clay?
I would say I would agree with what Johnny said there. In terms of parking lot, like integrating technology there, um, they do have softwares like cameras and everything that you can set up that'll read the license plates as they enter. So for people, this mitigates people not paying. So they can read their license plate as the car enters, and it'll basically like generate like a parking violation ticket for them if they don't pay or if they forget to like renew their time. So just like a little technology like that can yield you thousands and thousands of dollars over the course of a year.
Yeah, because instead of having like multiple people walking the lots and stuff, like physically scanning, you just have your cameras that they sense they pick up the plates, and they'll tell you like which car hasn't paid, and then you can send one person out to go write them a ticket instead of having a bunch of people on
or
the
or
block.
tow the car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or total.
If someone listening to this right now is like, you know what? I resonate with your guys' story. I resonate with the parking lot thing. I want to get in the game. What's the biggest mistake, Clay? What's the biggest mistake that someone could make getting into the parking lot business?
The biggest mistake getting into the parking industry, parking lot business as a whole, is underestimating how difficult it really is. People just think like, oh, you create an LLC, you get a website together, and boom, like you can do it. Sure, you can technically have a parking business, but like if you really, really want to grow, like you got to be prepared to get the late night calls, be up early in the morning, deal with call outs. Like it's a very high stress but high profit industry. So know what you're getting into before you do it, and then stick through with it. Like you're not gonna see success overnight. You're gonna have a lot of failures. And then also treat your employees how you want to be treated, because at the end of the day, you're offering a service, you're not selling a product. So, your people are gonna care for your company as much as you care for them. So if you treat your people right, then they're gonna go out there and they're gonna treat your company well.
That's
and,
so
and they're gonna
good.
take care of their customers.
Johnny, anything to add there?
Yeah, I would like if you wanted to really focus on one thing, just making sure you really take care of, just treat people nice, with respect, and take care of your employees. Don't burn any bridges with vendors.
Don't be stealing any cars.
Don't be stealing cars. Yeah, I think in the valet world or like security world, or where you're dealing with like a service based business, you really got to make sure your ducks are in a row, especially in the state of California. Like you got all these employee attorneys that are just trying to go after everyone. Like you could be doing something that you think is right, and maybe it is, like you just aren't like doing it exactly by the book, and someone's going to see that and go after you. So you just got to make sure all your stuff's in order and organized, and yeah.
Johnny, Clay, I appreciate you boys coming in and talking shop, dropping so much knowledge. Where can the folks get in touch with you guys if they want to learn more about the parking lot business and potentially work directly with you guys?
Best way to find us would be you can go to Instagram, Valet Parking Pros. You can visit us at our website, www.valetparkingpros.com, or you can send us an email, info@valetparkingpros.com.
I love it. There it is. They are Jonny and Clay Velarde, the Velarde brothers. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm Rich Summers. Listeners, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.